Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. On behalf of ISKCON Scarborough, I would like to welcome each one of you to this Friday evening program. Chapter 10, titled The Opulence of the Absolute, and we are reading from verse 27. Uchchaishavasam asvanam vidimam amrito bhavam airavatam gajendranam naranam Naranam cha naradipam Uchchaishravasam Uchchaishrava Asvanam among horses Vidi no Mam me Amrita Udbhavam produced from the churning of the ocean Airavatam Airavata Gaja Indranam of lordly elephants Naranam among human beings Cha and Nara Adipam the king. Translation of horses know me to be Uchchaishrava produced during the churning of the ocean for nectar. Of lordly elephants I am Airavata, and among men I am the monarch. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The devotee demigods and the demons asuras once took part in churning the sea. From this churning, nectar and poison were produced, and Lord Shiva drank the poison. From the nectar were produced many entities, of which there was a horse named Uchchaishrava. Another animal produced from the nectar was an elephant named Airavata. Because these two animals were produced from nectar, they have special significance, and they are representatives of Krishna. Among the human beings, the king is the representative of Krishna because Krishna is the maintainer of the universe. And the kings who are appointed on account of their godly qualifications are maintainers of their kingdoms. Kings like Maharaj Yudhishthir, Maharaj Parikshit, and Lord Rama were all highly righteous kings who always thought of the citizens' welfare. In Vedic literature, the king is considered to be the representative of God. In this age, however, with the corruption of the principles of religion, monarchy decayed and is now finally abolished. It is to be understood that in the past, however, people were more happy under righteous kings. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Amanchakalpathirubhyascha kripa sindhu bhevacha Patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who are like desired trees, fulfilling the desires of everyone and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Of horses know me to be Uchchaishrava, produced during the churning of the ocean for nectar. Of lordly elephants I am Airavata, and among men I am the monarch. So in this particular verse, Lord Krishna is confirming that amongst the horses is Uchchaishrava and amongst the elephant is Airavata. And this is from this wonderful, wonderful pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is from the 5th chapter to the 10th chapter of the 8th canto. This wonderful pastime starts right after Gajendra's pastime. King Gajendra, the elephant's pastime. Right after that, this amazing pastime of churning of the milk ocean starts. So again, and we'll try to go into a different yuga, so fasten your seat belts. Here in Kali Yuga, we'll go to a different yuga, and we'll go through these 5 chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam. And talking about milk ocean, from that there are more than the saltwater ocean that we are used to. So we know about Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, all these oceans are saltwater ocean. But from Siddhanta Shiromani, which is the astrological text, as well as from other Vedic literatures, we get to know that there are many, many other types of ocean in this universe. So we know what we can see in this earth, but there are different oceans. Ocean of milk, ocean of yogurt, ocean of clarified butter, which is ghee. Then we have, just imagine, big ocean which is just made of ghee. So we have ocean of milk, ocean of yogurt, ocean of clarified butter, Then of course we have ocean of salt water that we know of here, but there are other saltwater oceans as well in this universe. And then we have ocean of sweet water. Then we have ocean of sugarcane water, sugarcane juice. And we have ocean of liquor as well. So these are all different oceans that are in this universe which we can't see. But from Vedic literatures we understand that there are different oceans. Just imagine huge ocean just made of milk. And with regard to this churning of the ocean of milk, if you go to Bangkok's International Airport, if anybody who has been to Bangkok International Airport, the name of the airport is Swarga Bhumi. This is not a airport in Chennai or anywhere else that we're talking about. This is in Bangkok. The name of the airport is Bhumi, which means golden land. And in that airport, I've seen this, in that airport, there is a huge structure of this churning of ocean of milk. You see the Asuras in one side, you have the Devas in one side, you have this Mandara mountain, and then you have this Kurmavatar underneath this Mandara mountain, and then you have the personality of God right on top in the summit as well. And then Vasuki, the snake, is being used to churn. This is there in Bangkok International Airport. So if you have not been to Bangkok, don't worry, you can go to the internet and then type in churning of the ocean of milk in Bangkok International Airport. So, and then there is a big plaque as well which explains about this pastime in Bangkok, in Thailand. And this particular pastime is so amazing because in the same pastime we have Krishna incarnating twice. Krishna is incarnating twice in the same pastime. One as Kurma avatar and second as Mohini Murti avatar. And also it's not just two incarnations. We hear about other forms of the Lord. One form of the Lord was in the summit of Mount Mantara with 1,000 hands, and then he is holding the tip of Mount Mantara, and that was the other expansion of God. And also there is one more expansion of the Lord by the name of Ajita. Ajita means one who's unconquerable, and Ajita is the one, the Supreme Personality of God, who did the actual churning in the end when things started coming out. Until then nothing came out. And also we hear about Mukunda, because when during the churning of the ocean of milk, goddess of fortune, Sri or Rama, was produced or born, and then she married Supreme Personality of Godhead Mukunda during this pastime of churning of the milk ocean. So there are several expansions or incarnations of the Lord. And also the verse that we are reading today, 10.27, Krishna is saying, amongst horses is Uchchaishrava, amongst the elephant he is Airavata. And in the very next verse, in the 28th verse, Lord Krishna is explaining that amongst the cows is Surabhi. And is it okay? It's okay. Is the sound okay? So in this, and then he also mentions in the very next verse that amongst the snakes is Vasuki, and amongst the birds is Garuda. So you can see everywhere in this pastime, every minute of this pastime, we'll be hearing only about Krishna. And also, we'll also hear how many times Lord Krishna helps the demons and the demigods, because he's equal to everyone. So this is one of the most fascinating pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are all fortunate to hear that today, because the verse that we've chosen today is relevant to this churning of this milk ocean. So what is the trigger, or what is the setup factor for this churning of milk ocean? Now, Indra is the king of heavenly planet. He is very opulent, he is very powerful, he is very handsome, as we know, as we read from Srimad Bhagavatam. And he is traveling on the road. It says in Srimad Bhagavatam, he's traveling on the road. Again, it's not a road that we see on earth. This is in the heavenly planets. He's traveling on the road on his elephant carrier. And then Durvasa Muni, who's a mendicant with matted hair, is walking along the road with a nice garland in his neck. And then seeing Indra, he takes the garland and gives it to Indra. And Indra is used to getting several garlands, several garlands are given to him every day. So he took it for granted. And in general, Indra is intoxicated with pride. We read that from several pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam. He's intoxicated with pride. So what he does, when the garland is given to him, he puts it on the trunk of the elephant. And elephant, being an animal, does not know the value of this Mahaprasadam, because it's coming from the Lord to the great devotee and from him to Indra. And then he tramples, the elephant tramples this garland. And then this saint, Durvasa Muni, who's very, very famous for his fiery temperament, what does he do? He curses Indra. You will lose all your material opulence. He curses him. You will lose all your material opulence. And not long after that, the demons take serpent weapons, and they destroy the demigods. They defeat them utterly. And the demigods many of the demigods are dead. So again, this is from Srimad Bhagavatam. The demigods are killed by these serpent weapons, by these demons. Again, as I said, this from the 5th chapter to the 10th chapter. So it's a wonderful, wonderful pastime. So when you go home, this is something that all of you should read. So the demigods are killed by these serpent weapons. And it is said, before that, Indra, when he was intoxicated with pride, from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Queen Kunti is praying to Lord Krishna. So here, Queen Kunti is not praying to the deity form of Krishna, not praying to this picture of Krishna. She is praying to the Lord who is in front of her. And she prays, Janmaishwarya Shuddha Sridhir Edamana Madapuman Naivarati Abhidyatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. My dear Lord, your Lordship can be easily attained by anyone, but when they are materially exhausted. One who's in this path of respectable parentage, one who's in this path of getting opulence, one who's in this path of bodily beauty, one who's in this path of obtaining great education, they are disqualified. Now, all the disqualification was there in Indra. That is why he was intoxicated with pride, because he was very well qualified, he's so knowledgeable, he is so opulent, his bodily beauty is incomparable, and so that is the reason why he was intoxicated with pride and he did not know the value of this Mahaprasad. And therefore, these demigods many of them are killed, injured, and many of them are killed. Most of us came from different countries, from Caribbean countries, from Asian countries. We came, just before we came, we thought we go to Canada, we go to America, we go to Europe, all our problems will go away. And we came here, we still have different problems. We may not have the same problems that we had back home, back then, but we have different problems. Nobody can say they don't have problems here. Similarly, by following the Karma Kanda practices, procedures in Vedas, many people go to heavenly planets, thinking that there's no problem in heavenly planets. Here what we read, people, the demigods who got so much pious credits are not just injured, they're killed by demons. So, Lord Krishna in the 8th chapter says, Dukkalayam Asasvatam. This is a temporary place, but it's a place of abode of miseries. And in the very next verse, Lord Krishna says, A Brahma Bhona Loka Punaravartino Jana from the highest planet, Brahmaloka or Satyaloka, which is at the summit of Mount Sumeru, which is made of gold, down to the lowest planet, all a place of misery where repeated birth and death takes place. And here, the death is taking place in the heavenly kingdom, the demigods are getting killed. And whomsoever survived along with Indra, they all go to Lord Brahma, to the summit of Mount Sumeru, which is made of gold. Just in a company, we can't go to the CEO directly. We go to our manager, the manager goes to the general manager goes to the CEO. So similarly, all the demigods go to Lord Brahma, to Brahmaloka or Satyaloka, and he's one of the 12 Mahajans, Lord Brahma. And immediately Lord Brahma says, me, Lord Brahma, you, Lord Shiva, all the demigods, all the demons, and all the living entities who are born from eggs. Who are the living entities born from eggs? Birds. Living entities born from embryos. Example, human beings, animals like horses, tigers, they're all born from the mother's womb, from the embryo. Living entities born from seeds. What the living entities born from seeds?
Vegetables.
Plants, trees. And the living entities born from perspiration. It is said that the bed bugs are born from perspiration. So, those are all the living entities. They're either born from eggs, born from seeds, born from embryo, born from perspiration. All of them, or all of us, originate from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So let us go to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all of them go to Swetadeep, which is the shores of the ocean of milk. They cannot go to where the Lord is, so they can go to the shore. And then they usually offer Purusha Sukta prayers. But this time, Brahma offers wonderful prayers. About 25 verses are there from Srimad Bhagavatam of the prayers that Lord Brahma offers. And it said in Srimad Bhagavatam that he offered prayers that are authorized in Vedic literature. So it's a lesson for us. We cannot just go and offer prayers that we want. We have to offer prayers that are authorized in the Vedic literature. And Prabhupada in his purport says, in ISKCON, we offer prayers only that have been authorized by past acharyas because they have taken it from Vedic literature. So we are all well situated here. And out of all the prayers that we can offer, Prabhupada says, just these two prayers out of all the prayers that are there in the Vedic literature, two prayers are sufficient to please the Lord. And what are those two prayers? One is the Panchatattva mantra, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, and the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. These two prayers are good enough to please the Lord. And the prayers of Lord Brahma, he starts off by saying, he's praying to the Lord, you, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the origin of everything, and you're present as Paramatma in everyone's heart, and you're also present in the atoms. And from Bhagavad Gita, we get to know, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Matta Sarva Pravartate. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. So Krishna is confirming that in Bhagavad Gita. And Lord Brahma is praying that you are in the heart of everyone and in the atoms as well. From the 15th verse of the 15th chapter, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto. I am situated in everyone's heart, and from me comes knowledge, remembrance and forgetfulness. And also in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is confirming Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridesu Arjuna Tisthiti. So I am situated in everyone's heart as well. And then Lord Brahma prays, you are the illuminator of everything. Not eliminator, he is the eliminator too in another form. He is an illuminator of everything. That is, light is coming, source of all illumination, which removes the darkness. And from Chaitanya we hear this wonderful verse, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andhakara. Krishna is compared to sun and Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunlight, there is no darkness. And also the verse that we did, that we heard last week, anybody remembers the verse? From the Chatur Sloki, the 11th verse of the 10th chapter.
And after that.
Yeah. Tesam evan kam partam aham ajnana jamtamaha nasayam atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. Deepam means lamp. So he illuminates everything. And then Lord Brahma prays that, Lord Brahma goes on to pray that you appeared in Tri Yuga. Tri Yuga means he appeared in three yugas. One is Satya Yuga in white color, Hamsa form. He appeared in Treta Yuga in red color, and that was Yajna form. And in Dwapara Yuga, he appeared in blackish complexion as Lord Krishna. And he does not pray about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's avatar because it's hidden avatar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is hidden avatar. Even though we hear from the 11th canto, Krishna Varnam Tushar Krishnam Sangupankasam Varsatam Yajnesam Kirtanam, right? That verse is there, where even though his complexion is not gold, his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is Krishna himself. So, Hare Krishna. So that is the confirmation that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God as we are speaking. And then, Lord Brahma prays that whenever Krishna appears, he appears with all his opulence. And what are the opulences? All 6 opulence: wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. And Lord Brahma goes on to pray that in the cycle of material activities, the body is compared to the chariot wheel. The hub is the super soul, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the rim is made of these 8 material energies of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. And then that is the rim, and then the 15 spokes are there. In a chariot wheel, there are 15 spokes. And what are the 15 spokes? The 5 life airs that are within us, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 working senses, hands, legs, all those. They form the 15 spokes. And the center of activity is the 3 modes of material nature. So this is compared, the human body is compared to the big chariot wheel. And he goes on to pray, because of Lord's external energy, which is Maya, living entities or human beings forget the aim of life. The aim of life is to Swarthagati, to go back home, back to Godhead. And from Prahlad Maharaj's prayers, we hear Nate Vidum Swarthagatim Hi Vishnu Durasaya Hai Bhagirattamanina Andayata. This is a wonderful verse. So the aim of life is to go back home, back to Godhead. But because of Maya, which is Lord Krishna's external energy, everybody is bewildered. And then he continues to pray, we demigods are in the mode of goodness internally and externally, but we ourselves have difficulty in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is to be said about living entities who are in the mode of passion, who are in the mode of ignorance? And then he goes on to say the whole of material creation is contained in the lotus feet of the Lord. Samashitaye Padapallava Prabhu Mahat Padam Punni Eso Murare. The whole of material creation is contained in the lotus feet of the Lord. And he prays that the water that all the living entities are sustaining with is the perspiration, semen of the perspiration of the Lord. And then he goes on to say, that the eyes are the sun. Eyes are the sun of the Lord. The eyebrows are emerald. Eyebrows the emerald. The eyelashes are the eternal time, and the mouth is the fire which takes the oblations during yajnas. And from his mouth emanate the Brahmins and the Vedic literature. From his arms the Kshatriyas and the strength, and from his thighs come the Vaishyas and the wealth, and from his feet comes the Sudras. So wonderful praise. And then he goes on to pray that karmis, they work very hard for sense gratification, but they don't get sense gratification. They don't get the satisfaction. What they get is dissatisfaction or frustration. But the devotees, even though they don't work hard, they serve the lotus feet of the Lord, and then they get so much of satisfaction. And any little service done to the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not go in waste. And when we satisfy the Lord, everyone is satisfied. Yathataror mula nischanena tripteti tatskanda pujopasaga. When you pour water to the root of the tree, the whole tree is energized. When you put food into the stomach, the whole body is enlivened. So these are wonderful prayers. About 25 verses are there, Lord Brahma's praise. And then Lord Brahma prays, please appear in front of us so that we'll be able to see you. We are totally surrendered to you. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears with effulgence of 1,000 suns. In front of them, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears with so much of effulgence. And then all the demigods, including Brahma and Lord Shiva, fall at the feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then again Lord Brahma starts offering prayers, because he's so fascinated when he sees, so pleased when he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He says, just like there is fire in wood, because when you rub two wooden pieces, you will get fire. You can get fire. Just like fire is inside the wood, just like there is milk inside the udder of the cow, just like there is food grains and water in the land, in Bhakti Yoga, you are there as a Supreme Personality of God. We can get you from the Bhakti Yoga. So from that, it says, and also like the elephant who is actually being, thank you, Just the elephants who are, when there is forest fire and when they see the Ganges water, how happy they are. Just like that, we as demigods are so fortunate to see your Supreme Personality of Godhead's form in front of us. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared in front of them in this blackish, bluish form with yellow silk garment, and he's got this effulgent cheek, pristine smile, and he's got this lotus face, lotus eyes, and he's got this shark-shaped earring moving back and forth. And he speaks in a deep voice. So if all of us need to know how the Lord speaks, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, twice it says the same thing. One in the 51st chapter of 10th canto, Muchukunda pastor, we heard that a couple of weeks ago. So there, when Muchukunda with his vision burned this Kalyavana, then the Lord appears, and then Muchukunda asked the Lord, can you please tell me who you are? And the Lord, the same words I used in Srimad Bhagavatam. The Lord replied in a deep voice, resembling the rumbling of the clouds. In a deep voice, resembling the rumbling of the clouds. And then the Lord said, make truce with the demons, because they are favored by time and by Sukracharya. Sukracharya is the spiritual master. They are favored by time and by the spiritual master. Make truce with them. That means have some pact with them that you don't fight. And you make this truce for a higher cause. And he gives them the idea. What is? He says, take the Mandara mountain, use the Vasuki as a rope, and churn the ocean of milk, which has already got vegetables, which has already got grass, it's got creepers, and it's got some grubs. So when this ocean is churned with this Mandara mountain, you will get this nectar. But before that, you will get poisonous substance called Kalakuta or Alahala. You will get that, but do not fear. But then the most important advice that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is giving to the demigods is that do this with undiverted attention. Do this churning with undiverted attention. Have patience. Have peace. Don't be greedy. And don't be anxious to get what is coming out. So our Acharya has explained, just like when the churning of ocean was taking place to obtain the nectar from inside the ocean of milk, we have to churn the ocean of our consciousness with, not with the Mandara mountain, but with the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And initially all the bad things come out. We want nectar. What is nectar? Which is the Krishna Prem. We want that. But initially all these lusty desires and all these things will come. Then comes all these beautiful things. So Krishna is saying, you will get a lot of temptations coming from inside. Do not fall. Keep going. Keep churning with undiverted attention. So immediately with this idea that Supreme Personality of Godhead has given, and Lord is telling, use the logic of snake and mouse. So I read this verse a few years ago and I was fascinated by this. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is telling the demigods, use the logic of snake and mouse. It's there in Srimad Bhagavatam. What does that mean? Prabhupada in his purport is explaining, in a basket, a snake and a mouse got trapped. The snake and the mouse cannot get out. The natural food for snake is the mouse. So he can very easily eat the mouse. But he knows if he eats this, still he's going to be dead at some point. He'll be hungry and he cannot get out. So what does the snake do? The snake says to the mouse, you make a hole. And then, I will not eat you, but you make the hole and we can escape. But then when the hole is big enough, nicely the snake eats the mouse and goes out through the hole. This is the snake and mouse logic. And Lord is telling the demigods, use this logic of, exact word, use the logic of snake and mouse. And Lord Indra, king of heaven, goes to Bali Maharaj and he says, why don't we churn this ocean of milk? And immediately he accepts. Bali Maharaj accepts because he knows that the demigods are already defeated. They're so weak. Even if they get the nectar later on, they can easily snatch it from the demigods and drink. So he agrees right away. So what they do? They go get this Mandara mountain. The Mandara mountain is made of gold. Huge mountain. The demigods and demons are strong. So they go get this huge Mandara mountain. But when they are bringing it halfway, the mountain is so heavy even for the demigods and for the demons. And then what they do, they cannot carry. And why is it so heavy? It is heavier because gold is heavier than stone. That's what Prabhupada explains in his purport. So they carry it, but they cannot bring it to the ocean of milk. Some of them are trapped underneath, they are dead. The demigods and demons are dead underneath this mountain. Some of them, their arms are broken, legs are broken when they're bringing this huge Mandara mountain. And they pray to the Lord. They pray to the Lord. Sincerely, the demigods pray to the Lord. And what does the Lord do? The Lord appears there. So every step, as in the way, as we heard earlier, the Lord is there to help. In his carrier Garuda. And then what does he do? Effortlessly, in one hand, he picks this Mandara mountain, places it on Garuda. So we heard that Garuda is also an representative of Krishna, 10.30th verse. Effortlessly, he places the Mandara mountain at the back of Garuda. So the demigods and demons cannot carry this, but Garuda is carrying it. Lord is taking it in one hand and placing it on Garuda. And he collects all the demigods and demons who are left, and he brings back to life all the demigods and demons who are trapped underneath this Mandara mountain. Brings them back to life, goes to ocean of milk. The mountain is placed in the right place. And then expansion of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ajita, he goes to the front of this snake, which is to the head part of Vasuki. So they summon Vasuki. Before that, they summon Vasuki. Just before Vasuki can be summoned, Lord Krishna asks Garuda to go away. Why is that? Because snake is a natural food for Garuda. Just after Garuda leaves, Vasuki is summoned. So he's used as a rope around this big Mandara mountain. So head is in one side, tail is in one side, the Mandara mountain is in the middle. And Ajita, who's the expansion or the incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead, holds the neck portion of it, and all the demigods follow him and hold the neck. And then the demons, they claim that they are elevated personalities, they are from high birth, and they are highly educated. And it's very inauspicious to catch the tail end of this Vasuki. We will not do that. We need the head part too. So Ajita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, says no problem. Then quietly he goes to catch the tail part of it, and all the demigods follow him, and all the demons go to the neck or the front portion of this Vasuki, and then they start churning. They start churning the ocean of milk. So right away the nectar should come. No, as we heard from Acharyas, when we churn the ocean of our consciousness for nectar, all bad things come. Material desires and everything else comes in the beginning stages. So they start churning. What happens? Right away. There is no foundation below Mount Mandara. So Mount Mandara is sinking. And they pray, and the demigods pray to the Supreme Personality of God. The Lord expands in the Skurma avatar. So that's the first expansion or incarnation of the Lord. Actually, in the famous Dasavatara Stotra, Kurma avatar is the second avatar. So the Lord expands as Kurma avatar, and he expands 800,000 miles. In Srimad Bhagavatam says he expands 800,000 miles, like an island, just below this mountain, so for Mount Mandara to rest. So the Lord helps again. And then the churning starts again. The churning. Nothing is happening. Now, Vasuki is about to die. He is so tired. And the demigods are so tired. The demons are so tired. They cannot continue. And what does the Lord do? The Lord enters the mode of goodness into the body of the demigods, mode of passion into the bodies of demons, and mode of ignorance into Vasuki. And then they all get energized. And again the churning starts. Now what happened? So the Lord is at the bottom. The Lord is inside all of them. They have all this energy. So they should churn and the nectar should come. No. What happens? The top of the mountain is wobbly. The top of this Mount Mandara is wobbly because it's off balance. There is no support. And what does the Supreme Personality of Godhead do? Expands into 1,000-arm form, and with one hand, the Lord is holding the summit of Mount Mandara. So the Lord is at the top, the Lord is at the bottom, the Lord is inside everybody. So now it should be okay to get the nectar. They start churning. Now what happens? Suddenly there's blazing fire that is just burning all these demons. From where? Vasuki's got 1,000 mouth, and from the mouth blazing fire is coming. And who gets affected? The demons, because they wanted the front end of the snake. Ajita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, took the front end, but they said no, we are from high birth, we are educated, we need the front end of the snake, and all of them are dying. But Supreme Personality of Godhead is equal to everybody. He does not have any enemies. So what does he do? Torrents of rain pour, and there is cooling breeze. So as soon as this blazing fire comes out, it's put out by this torrents of rain. So everything is okay. Now they start churning. Yeah. The nectar should come. No, one more hurdle. Just like when we are trying to get this pure love of Krishna, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabonai. We have this pure love of Krishna in our heart, just like the nectar is there in the ocean of milk, and we need to churn it and take it out, but we'll get all these obstacles. So what is the final obstacle here? The final obstacle is that in spite of them churning, nothing comes out. Now we heard about Ajita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ajita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, starts churning. When he starts churning, things start coming. What are the first things that start coming? Alligator. From the ocean of milk, alligator comes. Crocodile comes. Timingala. Timingala is the big whale which eats smaller whale. Sharks come. Snakes come out. And our acharyas tell us, when we are churning this ocean of our consciousness to obtain the pure love of Krishna, all these contamination comes first, or the material desire comes. So do not worry about, they don't like this churning. Because it's deep rooted for so many lifetimes, it all comes up first. So they continue to churn the ocean. And what comes? Now the nectar should come. Everything is perfect. You have Supreme Personality of Godhead up, Supreme in the form of the 1,000-hand form. You have the Supreme Personality of Godhead below in the form of tortoise, Kurmavatar. You have the Lord in the body of everybody, the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, giving them energy. Everything is okay. And Ajita himself is turning. Now what comes? Poison. Kalakuta or Hala poison comes. It is not just little bit of poison. This poison is spreading to all three worlds. And nobody knows what to do. So they go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he says, go to summit of Mount Kailash. Lord Shiva is there with Parvati. And Lord Shiva tells Parvati, when the demigods came for his help, it is my duty to save their lives, and any benevolent activity done to Lord Hari, everyone is pleased. When Lord is pleased, everybody is pleased. So I have to save everybody. So he comes from the summit of Mount Kailash and he strings the whole of Hala or Kalakuta poison to one palmful, and then he drinks it. And then he gets this blue line because of this poison, and it is the ornament. Because Vaishnavanam Yathastambu is the greatest Vaishnava. And he drinks the poison on behalf of everybody to save everybody. And some of the leftover poison falls down. And where do you think the scorpions, snakes, everybody gets the poison? So the scorpions and snakes drank the leftover of this poison. So that is what is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So scorpions, snakes, and also in the purport, Prabhupada says jackals, dogs, and mosquitoes. And mosquitoes too drank this leftover, whatever little bit of poison was left, they drank it. That's how they got this poison. They got the venom in them, like how cobra can bite and kill somebody. So the poison comes out. They're not stopping. They're churning the ocean again. And comes all these temptations. Our Acharya says, next come all these temptations. What is the first temptation? Surabhi the cow, the most beautiful Surabhi the cow, white as a moon, comes out. And then Surabhi the cow gives milk, it gives yogurt, it gives ghee for all these sacrifices. So all these saints took that cow. And then came today's verse. What are we reading? Uchchaishrava. Uchchaishrava, the white horse, white as a moon again comes. And then Bali Maharaj took that. Then came Airavata, the elephant with 4 tusks. Indra took Airavata. And he defeated the beauty of Kailash mountain. We just heard about Kailash mountain, Lord Shiva and Parvati there. This defeated the beauty of Kailash mountain, Airavata. So we had Surabhi the cow, Uchchaishrava the horse, then we had Airavata, then Kastuba jewel. Kastuba jewel came out, the most beautiful Kastuba jewel. Lord Vishnu himself took that. Then after Kastuba jewel came Padmaraga jewel. Lord Vishnu took that. And then Parijata flower came. Parijata flower can fulfill everybody's desire. Parijata flower came, and then all the denizens took that. And then came Apsaras. Apsaras are these heavenly damsels. They came out. And then goddess of fortune. Goddess of fortune appeared, and the goddess of fortune is called as Sri or Rama, and she was exceedingly beautiful when she appeared. And then the cows, all the sacred cows, gave ghee, gave milk, gave yogurt, gave butter, and all the personified rivers, Yamuna, Ganga, they brought their holy waters in golden pot. The clouds played musical instruments like flute, like conch shell. They blew the conch shell. It's called Gomuk conch shell. They played the most beautiful tunes in the Gomuk conch shell. And then Lord Brahma offered a lotus flower. Varuna offered a garland. And in that way, and the personification of ocean gave her the top and the bottom yellow cloths for her to wear. So everybody gave wonderful, wonderful gifts to Goddess of Fortune. And so I have to keep time in my mind because I see things were given as gift to the Goddess of Fortune. And then Goddess of Fortune and all the Brahmin, wonderful mantras, and the Gandharvas sang, Apsaras danced. So wonderful atmosphere. And at that time, Goddess of Fortune is taking this garland to find the suitable match. And she's seeing a lot of personalities, great personalities there. Somebody who's done wonderful austerity, but they have anger. They cannot control the anger. Somebody's great personality, but they cannot control their lusty desires. So she could not find anybody who's a match for her. Everybody had fallen. So finally she found Mukunda there, the personality of God Mukunda, and she called it. So during the journey of Milk Ocean, there was this marriage of Goddess of Fortune to Mukunda. And then came other things also came from this journey of Milk Ocean, including because Dhanvantari is the personality of God. It's a plenary expansion of the plenary portion of the Lord, and he is very strong. He's darkish in complexion. He's got this yellow dhoti as well, and he's got this oil, anointed oil at the tip of his hair, and he brings this pot of nectar from there. Finally, the nectar is coming through Dhanvantari, and then immediately the demons snatch it, because that's what Bali Maharaj had in his mind in the beginning. So immediately the nectar is snatched away from their hands, and then they were about to drink, and all the demigods prayed to the Supreme Personality of God. We worked so hard, and the nectar has been snatched away by these demons. Please help us. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead says, do not worry, I will cause a dispute among them where they will fight with each other. You will get this nectar in the end. And then immediately the demons start fighting. I need to drink this nectar first. No, I need to drink this nectar. But they have all these fight amongst them. And then some of these less powerful demons say that why should we drink first? It should be demigods first, because they were also part of this. So they were fighting amongst each other. And then the Lord appears in this most beautiful form of Mohini Murti. Mohini Murti is this incarnation of the Lord in the form of a woman. And now is the most beautiful women in the whole of universe. So we're not talking about Miss Bollywood, Miss Hollywood, or Miss World here. And we're not talking about Apsaras and Urvasis in the higher planetary system. The most beautiful women that anybody can see was this Mohini Murti avatar, who's an incarnation of Krishna. So she appears in this beautiful, freshly formed lotus flower. She's wearing malika flowers, and because of a fragrance in her body, there are bumblebees that are circling around her because of this beautiful, wonderful fragrance that is emanating from her body. And then the demons are captivated by her beauty. And what do? We are all brothers. The demons are saying, the demigods and the demons are brothers. How's that? Because they are all sons of Kashyapa Muni. The demigods and the asuras are sons of Kashyapa Muni, but they are from different mothers. From Aditi all the demigods are born. From Diti all the demons are born. So they say, we are all brothers, but this dispute is this part of nectar. So kindly be an arbitrator and settle this dispute so that we get this nectar equally. So whatever decision you take, we abide by that. And they give this part of nectar to Mohini Murti, because they were captivated by her beauty. What she does, what Mohini Murthy does, Mohini Murthy says, all of you sit down, yes, all of them take bath, they give some cows in charity, even the demons give charity before they are ready to accept this nectar. So they are all seated in one side, and the demigods are seated a little bit far away in the other side, and then Mohini Murthy goes towards the demons with a pot of nectar. Now it's so much of suspense that demigods are wondering, oh, the nectar is going to be given to this. Why you should never give milk to poisonous snakes. It's very dangerous. You're feeding the poisonous snake, and these asuras are worse than deadly snake. Why? And Prabhupada in his purport quotes that two deadly creatures in this whole universe are human beings and snakes. And who's more deadlier? Envious human beings are more deadlier than snake. Why? With the help of some mantras and some herbs, you can control the snake. You can, curtail the snake's anger. But a venomous or a deadly or a dangerous human being, you cannot control them. And also, when the snake is there, only when it is threatened, it bites somebody. Cobra will bite. When somebody is going, it won't do anything. Whereas a human being will go take an atom bomb and, drop in, can kill many human beings at the same time. So, human being, greedy, envious human beings are more deadly than a poisonous cobra. So, why would milk be given to the snake? So, he goes, Mohini Murthy, the form of this woman, goes and talks very sweetly to these demons, does not give them the nectar, walks away and takes this nectar and gives it to the demigods. And the demigods start drinking one at a time, and the demons cannot do anything because they have accepted her to be the arbitrator, settle our dispute. So they are helpless. They're so angry, but they're so helpless. And Rahu is a demon. He causes the eclipse for sun and moon. Quietly he takes the dress of a demigod, jumps into that line, and he starts drinking. So as soon as he drank it, it went up to his throat. Supreme Personality of Godhead sent his chakra and cut off his head. So his body dead, but head is not dead. That is to show the power of this Amrita, the ambrosia. And then sun and the moon catch him right away because they are his enemies. And then, so that is, we're almost out of time. So that is the comparison of Acharyas explained to us, like the ocean of milk, we churn the ocean of our consciousness. There Mandara mountain was used, we used the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. There Vasuki was used as a rope, we used the Hare devotion to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the attachment of this rope to Mandara, Vasuki to Mandara. And then all the, temptation comes, like Surabhi, Lakshmi, we get a lot of money. When we chant, we get money and everything else. But that is not our end goal. Our end goal is Krishna Prem, the love of Godhead. So, every time when we chant so that our ocean of our consciousness is being churned, and we can't churn it. Like Ajita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when he started churning only, all things started coming out. So when we chant, the expansion of Ajita is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in this age of Kali. Kali Kale Nama Rupa Krishna Avtar. So we'll chant this, we have 1 more minute, we'll chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. From the 2 more minutes, we chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times from the bottom of our heart, and you visualize that we are churning this ocean of our consciousness so that all the bad things can come out. Lusty desires, everything will come out in the beginning stages. Not to worry. Spiritual masters' instructions are there in Vani that will take out this poison, Kala Kuta and Hala Hala poison. So let's close our eyes and chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times. So we churn the ocean of our consciousness. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Louder please. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Hare Krishna.